This is an MPB Think Radio podcast. To hear previous shows, visit mpbonline.org or download the MPB Public Radio app to listen on your iPhone or Android phone on demand.
From MPB Think Radio, this is Mississippi Education Connection. I'm your host, Michelle McAdoo, along with my co-host, Tara Wren, Director of Education here at MPB. On today's show, we'll discuss education and workforce development in Mississippi by taking a closer look at MPB's Workforce Development Initiative, Getting to Work Mississippi, with our guest, Sharon Person, Director of Community Engagement here at MPB. We'll also speak with representatives from the Mississippi Community College Board about programs they offer and how they benefit the future of Mississippi. Now, if you'd like to be a part of our conversation, the number to call is 1-877-MPB-RING. Again, that's 1-877-672-7464. Well, good morning, Tara.
Good morning, Michelle. How are you today?
I am doing well, and actually better now that you're here in your lemon lime Sprite dress. You look
brightening everything up for this Friday.
Yes, I want some key lime pie now. You look like a slice of key lime pie.
Well, all right,
with the crust. Java's laughing because he's like, that was dead on. Was that dead on, Java? Perfect.
I love key lime pie. It's my favorite pie.
But you know, it is the holiday weekend.
A slice of
pie
yes.
on my Friday morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Speaking of a slice of pie, it's funny you segued that so perfectly. Didn't even know you did it.
I did.
But everybody wants a piece of the pie. Everybody wants a good job, a good career. And let me take that back. Everybody wants a good career. I would beg to say that I don't want just a job. I don't know if you think the same way, but getting people in careers and getting them skills to have, what's that word you said last week?
Sustainable wage.
Sustainable wages. I like that.
Yes.
That's what we want to push Mississippians towards, not just working. We're not putting down minimum wage. We're not putting down McDonald's and fast food places at all. But we're saying sustainable wages, something that you at least have a passion for, or if you're not working at that particular place, you can take that skill and work somewhere else.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about today, how to get Mississippians on the right track to sustainable income. I love it. Now, Tara, our first guest today has been a member of the Education Department here at MPB for quite some time. And she's here today with us to give us an inside look at your Workforce Development Initiative program called Getting to Work Mississippi. Let's welcome to the show now Director of Community Engagement, Ms. Sharon Person. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning.
Well, thank you again for being here today, Sharon. I know you guys have a lot on your plates, always busy over there in education land, as I call it. But before we begin talking about, of course, the Getting to Work Mississippi and how it was designed, can you introduce yourself to our listeners and give us a little background about you and MPB, because you've been here for a while?
I have. Thank you, Michelle. I am the Director of Community Engagement here at MPB. And I've actually started working here 19 years ago. And I started when our early childhood division was actually first being created. So I've worked on everything from early childhood to our health initiatives and community engagement events, and now, of course, workforce development.
Wow. So you've seen your department grow over 19 years.
Absolutely.
I have to ask another question. What has been the most rewarding part of working in the education department here at MPB for you?
Definitely has to be serving others, being able to provide resources and education and just things that Mississippians really need, and serving our communities has been definitely the most rewarding experience of my life.
Wow. Now, you mentioned, of course, we mentioned Getting to Work Mississippi. You managed that program and others. Talk about the initiative and how it came about.
Well, in 2018, MPB actually received a 2-year grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to create a workforce development initiative. And it was originally called American Graduate. It was set up to initially help with dropout prevention, which eventually segued into workforce development. We have named ours Getting to Work Mississippi. And basically what we did, because workforce was so new to us, I've done early childhood, I've done, health initiatives, things like that, but workforce development was definitely new for MPB. And so we traveled the state and we met with the experts to really assess Mississippi's workforce challenges and the opportunities. And then we use that feedback and that information to produce videos that highlighted high-demand careers with high earning potential for Mississippians.
Now, you say you guys actually went out to gather information to put together in your initiative. What was some of the most important information you received from the communities in the state about what Mississippi needs? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I think what we were learning is there's a huge skills gap. So it's not that we don't have the workforce, and it's not that we don't have the jobs in Mississippi, but there is a skills gap that needs to be addressed in order to prepare our workforce and our students to be able to obtain those jobs and then be successful once they do obtain them.
So Sharon, talk a little bit about the sectors and the research that you guys did, and what you learned there, and about those, a little bit more about those videos that we put together.
So we focused on 5 key industry sectors in Mississippi, and those sectors included energy, logistics, IT, healthcare, and manufacturing jobs. These are all jobs in Mississippi that you can that have a career pathway, but they also have skills and trainings programs available at community colleges. So these are all careers you can obtain with less than a 2-year degree in most cases. But not only that, it's what's most needed in Mississippi right now, as well as the high earning potential with a pathway. It's not, like you said earlier, Michelle, it's not a job, it's actually a career. So those are the sectors we focused on. We actually highlighted 2 jobs in each of those sectors, and so there were videos that were created, and they include things like cybersecurity careers and barge deckhands and nursing, and all of those are on our website. You can definitely view those. What's great about the videos is we interviewed not just the schools and the programs that provide those trainings, but we interviewed the students that are actually enrolled in those programs, those that are already enrolled and those that have already obtained jobs after their time with the program. And we show you a kind of a day in the life of what it looks like to be in that position and be in those careers.
Yeah, and speaking of, you mentioned the community college board, the community colleges, and we're going to be talking to them in just a few minutes here. But we could not have this program, at least this part of it, couldn't have been successful without them. They allowed us to come into the colleges and come on campus and work with our television department here at MPB and create those videos. So we're most happy to have them as a partner, continuing partner with us.
So let me ask both of you guys a question, Tara and Sharon. So I'm hearing that your Getting to Work Mississippi program involves videos and information about different careers and places that offer programs to get into those careers. What else is involved in Getting to Work Mississippi?
Well, if you visit our website, you'll find a lot of information there. All the videos are available, but along with those videos, you'll see little sections that highlight the salary ranges in those careers. They highlight the skills and abilities you would need to be successful, like math or team building and critical thinking. We also highlight the types of sectors that hire for those careers. So whether it's a manufacturing plant, automotive, or hospitals, all of that information is laid out as well. We have a form that can be filled out. There's a contact us section. So if somebody is interested in learning more about programs that are available to them at our local community colleges, there's a form that can be filled out. We'll make sure you get the information you need. And then if you're just not sure what you want to do and you want to explore careers, we do have a career profiler. It's called ONET, and there's a link to that. You can just fill that assessment out, and it'll give you a nice feedback, a great printout of what kind of careers may be best suited for you and your skills and what you're interested in. So that's kind of fun to take. I took it myself. I think I'm still in the right career. I don't think it told me to do anything different.
That's good to know.
Well, it sounds like this program is for adult education, but is it for young adults as well, high school students?
Yeah, so our target audience was really 16 to 26-year-olds, maybe those 16 to 17-year-olds that did not finish school, that need to go back and maybe get their high school equivalency, all the way up to young adults that may be in career transition, want to do something different, and our veterans, our returning veterans, any service members that have come back and they need to transition back into the civilian workforce. We have resources and partners for them as well.
Sharon, share a little bit about Workforce Wednesday, soft skills, and dress for success.
So our Workforce Wednesdays are these fun meetings that we host every third Wednesday of the month. They're from 11:30 to 12:30, so they're basically your lunch hour, and we meet via Zoom right now. We have a great guest speaker. We still do fun door prizes and giveaways, and what we try to do is connect our network and people that may want to partner with us or are already in partnership with us. People are able to learn new things that are happening in the workforce and just kind of really stay up to date about Mississippi's workforce needs and challenges and successes. So that's Workforce Wednesdays. You can also join in anytime you want. It's open to the public, and there's a link always on our website to register. We did a series of soft skills videos, which was really fun to do. There are 6 videos, and we really kind of focused on the do's and don'ts in the workplace. So we used some high school students, so it's really fun, and it's scenario-based. They're really short, so catches your attention span, and they're on our website as well. It talks about things like working in a team environment and how to dress for success and the ability to accept constructive criticism. So those kind of skills that are needed in the workforce today that we're hearing from employers that our workforce is lacking. So we took that challenge on and created those videos as well. And then Dress for Success is actually a blog that one of our coworkers did. She did a great job of focusing. I kind of took off from the soft skills series, so it kind of focused on specifically professionalism in the workplace, how to dress for success, appropriate shoes, appropriate makeup, down to your nail care, and Java's even on that page. You'll see a picture of him as well. So you'll see a whole bunch of Mississippi public broadcasting folks, but it was really fun, a do's and don'ts, bird's eye view, like what looks right in the workplace.
Yeah, so we did a lot of research, and as during the pandemic, these last 6 months, we have also continued to do research so that we could stay abreast of the workforce and what's new jobs, and what's that new what was one of the new ones that people are going to start looking at and getting into, Sharon?
Like telecommunication positions
and telehealth. And what about telehealth? Because you brought up a good point, Tara and Sharon. COVID-19 has changed a lot in the work sector. So a lot of things, policies, and a lot of things have changed. So how did COVID-19, I heard you say you guys are doing Zoom. Workforce Wednesdays are now virtual. And so did you have to change a little bit of how you guys, or what information you disseminate to the public because of COVID-19?
The information we put out is still, same, and everything that we're doing is still timely and very relevant right now. I mean, we're the education department,
right.
So of course, our all of our departments, our early childhood, our community engagement, and our digital resources, they were huge, and they were, very relevant and timely during the pandemic and before the pandemic and now. And so we do what we always do in education. We just adapt and adjust and make it happen. And so that's what we did. So typically Workforce Wednesdays are in person, but we were able to switch gears and put it on Zoom and didn't miss a beat. So,
did you guys add any, CDC guidelines or just pushing mask wearing, hand washing, and guidelines? What is it? The social distancing. Have you guys thought about adding a little bit of that COVID-19-ness in any of your new Workforce Wednesdays?
Well, we haven't done it in Workforce Wednesdays, but we definitely did it throughout the education department. And if you follow our MPB Education social medias, you'll see some of that. We have our very own Ed Said doing a video wearing his mask, and he's got some Ed Said mask. And then we've also had some students that we reached out to that we sent some masks to, and they have their little mask on with pictures, so you can see a Mask Up Mississippi hashtag on our MPB Education social media.
And that's been fun to see all of the students and the families who have received the masks that we sent to them. Mm-hmm. That's been fun seeing them. And so we ask people to go and check it out on our social media page, MPB Education on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. So before we go, Sharon, who are some of the partners that worked with you guys in this partnership?
We had some really great partners. Like I said, we would not have known even where to start with workforce development. So we reached out to our neighbors, our Mississippi Community College Board that you're going to have on a little bit later. They were very instrumental in helping us to really narrow down our focus and figure out salary ranges and skills. They helped us a whole lot. That played a big part in building out our website as related to Getting to Work Mississippi. Of course, Tara mentioned our community colleges, which they just opened their doors and allowed us to interview them and film on their campus, and it was really great having them as partners. The Mississippi Department of Employment Security had a lot of information, a lot of resources for us, and then we could not have done as much as we did without our veteran resource organizations. We had the Department of Veterans Affairs. We had Military One Source, Citizen Soldier for Life. We just had a lot of partners that were very instrumental in helping us to craft our message, focus in on what we wanted to highlight, and they were always very supportive of our efforts. So we really appreciate all that they've done.
And though this is good work that we have been doing, and the grant helped kick us off, Sharon, we're still in it, and we are planning, Michelle, to continue this work in workforce development, because educating our students and also helping the unemployed with information that we provide, from whether it's high school to a veteran, it's still very much relevant. And Sharon and her team has done a very good job at doing the research and working with internally and externally to collaborate to make this effort a success.
Well, Sharon, thank you so much for explaining what Getting to Work Mississippi is all about. And, of course, if you want more information, you can go on their website at education@mpbonline.org. Thank you, Sharon Person, for spending a little time with us today here at Mississippi Education Connection. You have a great weekend.
Thank you. You do the same.
All right. Well, it's time for us to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue our conversation about education and workforce development in Mississippi with our guest from Mississippi Community College Board, Bronwyn Robertson and Sandy Crist. Now, if you have a question or you have a comment, give us a call at 1-877-672-7464. Stay tuned. This is Mississippi Education Connection on MPB Think Radio.
Dr. Susan Buttress, host of Southern Remedies, Relatively Speaking, a show that explores issues that relate to you and your family, from mental health obstacles and family interactions to handling life's disruptions. Whatever it is, we're here to help. Find out what we're all about and subscribe to the podcast by using any podcast app or by downloading our MPB Public Media app.
This is an MPB Think Radio podcast.
Good morning. This is Mississippi Education Connection on MPB Think Radio. I'm Michelle McAdoo, along with my co-host, Tara Wren, Director of Education here at MPB. Well, today we're discussing education and workforce development in Mississippi. Now, if you'd like to join our conversation, the number to call is 1-877-672-7464. Now, before the break, we spoke with Sharon Person, Director of Community Engagement here at MPB, about their workforce development initiative, Getting to Work Mississippi. Now, let's continue our conversation about workforce in Mississippi with our guest from the Mississippi Community College Board, Bronwyn Robertson and Sandy Crist. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here with us today. We know you have a lot on your plate. You guys working with the state and keeping Mississippians working in careers and things like that. But before we get into your programs and, of course, what you guys do for the state, tell us a little bit about yourselves, introduce yourselves, and give us a little background about how you began with the Mississippi Community College Board. And, Sandy, I guess you can go first.
Great. Thank you for having us on the show this morning. We are always excited to share about our programs at the Community College Board. I started in adult education as a program specialist overseeing programs in high school equivalency prep, Smart Start, earning the National Career Readiness Certificate, and I've served as the state director until May 1st of this year. We work with state leaders in the development of the Mississippi Combined State Plan for WIOA, and really our goal is to help our citizens become employed. Bronwyn, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good morning. I'm Bronwyn Robertson. I am the program specialist with the Community College Board, Office of Adult Education, and I actually came to the board from Holmes Community College. I had over 13 years of experience in workforce development, working with employers. My office was actually located in a WIN job center, so just having that experience with core partners, preparing our students for employment, and overseeing, when I was at Holmes, the job readiness course that was required in adult education, the Smart Start Pathway course. And so I served on the PD state team as we created that curriculum and brought that knowledge to the board in 2018. And that is what I currently do right now, is oversee the Smart Start Pathway course as well as connect our students to business and employers.
Well, Bronwyn, I'll just start with you. You talked about your department, and you are over the employer engagement and workforce. What are your main goals in your department? What are the main goals for the state of Mississippi?
Well, I'll tell you, for adult education, we want to provide guidance and advising to our adult education programs, which are located in all of our community colleges, as well as 3 K-12 systems and correctional facilities. And just connecting our students with those wraparound services where we are providing them the skills and the pathways to connect them to employers and businesses. And through the Smart Start Pathway course, our students are learning what the job sector strategies are of Mississippi, what skills are needed, what our employers are telling us they need, those essential, necessary skills for them to obtain and retain a job. So our main goal at the end of the day is not just high school equivalency preparation, which that is a main goal of ours, but when it comes down to the end, we are wanting to connect our students to employment.
Now, Sandy, given what Bronwyn just said, are your goals for what you work on specifically any different?
Well, in May, I was promoted to Assistant Executive Director for Workforce, Career Technical, and Adult Education. So my role is to provide oversight to the programs and colleges in these areas and to make sure that we streamline pathways for all of our students. We want to ensure that our students have access to CTE programs and workforce programs that are ready for the students to attain employment and earn a family-sustaining wage. It's important that we put our students in those pathways where there will be jobs for them in their current program of study. So we do a lot of counseling, as Bronwyn mentioned, and advising our students to make sure they're in the right pathway. In this role, we have a connection internally so that we make sure that we create streamlined pathways for all of our students to be successful.
And so either one of you can answer this. When a student comes into your program, they have individual assessments for these particular programs, put them on a particular pathway, or how is all of this incorporated? Can you walk us through that so a student would know what to expect?
Sure, we'd be glad to do that. So when students enter the adult ed program, and let me just say this, all of our programs are free. Students do not have to pay for any assessments. We try to make sure that we remove any barriers for the students when they come to our programs. But they would have to, we go through an orientation process, and that orientation process does include an initial assessment we take the TABE test, and the TABE is the test of adult basic education. It tests students or assesses students in their reading and math and language skills so that we can determine what educational gaps they have and how we can provide instruction so that those students can earn their diploma and go on to find employment or enter into post-secondary at any of our wonderful community colleges. We provide individual counseling. A student success plan for every student is created so that we can set goals for that student, short-term, long-term, find out what their interests are, and try to guide them to a sector or program of study that will help them obtain a job so that they can support their family and earn a wage that will allow them to do that.
Spoke about earlier, I think, Bronwyn, you and I earlier talked about, you shared some alarming statistics about high school equivalency. Can you define high school equivalency for us and our listeners and share those statistics and tell us what MCCB is doing to help in these areas?
Yes, I shared with you guys that we currently right now have over 361,000 individuals above the age of 18 that do not have a high school equivalency diploma. And the one thing that the Community College Board has done is, number one, putting Sandy over as Executive Director for Workforce, Career Tech, and Adult Ed, which means that we have aligned those departments. It's already made a huge impact already. The beauty of workforce development and career technical education at the community colleges is they've already have the relationship with business and industry. They're already listening to the employers of Mississippi as to what needs to be incorporated into their programs to meet the needs of that sector. And so our instructors and students are aware of what training is needed, what requirements are needed, what credentials are needed, for employment. And so that is the one thing that the Community College Board has done. As far as the high school equivalency options, the state of Mississippi recognizes, both credentials regardless of the pathway a student takes to achieve their diploma. Our students are learning the same competencies as students that are in a K-12 program. Both diplomas require students demonstrate proficiency, in math, language, arts, social studies, and science. And just we offer multiple ways to earn the high school equivalency diploma.
Now, before we go to break, I know you have actually 3 different types of programs under the high school equivalency option. We'll talk about those when we get back. Plus, we'll go into a few more programs that you actually offer in your department. We'll take a quick break and come back and finish talking about workforce development and education in Mississippi. Now, if you have a question for our guest, give us a call at 1-877-672-7464. We'd love to answer any of your questions or hear your comments. This is Mississippi Education Connection on MPB Think Radio.
I'm Allison Walker, the Lady Auto Mechanic, host of AutoCorrect. If you're enjoying this podcast, try my podcast, AutoCorrect. We help steer you in the right direction with your car problems. Find me on any podcast platform or at autocorrect.mpbonline.org.
This is an MPB Think Radio podcast.
This is Mississippi Education Connection on MPB Think Radio. I'm Michelle McAdoo here along with my co-host, Tara Wren, Director of Education here at MPB. And today we're taking a look at education and workforce development in Mississippi. Now, if you have a question or comment, give us a call at 1-877-MPB-RING. That's 1-877-672-7464. Now, today we have the pleasure of having Mississippi Community College Board members Bronwyn Robertson and Sandy Crist here on the phone with us today. Now, ladies, before the break, we were discussing the high school equivalency options. Now, I went on your page and I noticed you have 3 different options under the high school equivalency. Can you break those down for us and let us know if one is better than the other or what are the differences?
Sure, be glad to do that. Back in before 2014, the only way to earn your high school equivalency diploma was to take the GED test. That changed in 2014, and that allowed other testing companies, other businesses come in and provide an assessment for students to be able to show that they are proficient in certain areas. So we have 2 standardized national assessments that students can choose from in Mississippi. Both of these assessments lead to the same high school equivalency diploma. The first one is the GED test, and that's the one people are most familiar with. It's been around since the 1940s. In 2014, it became a computer-based test only, which means you have to come to a testing center and you have to take the computer on. You have to take the test on a computer. The cost is $30 per content area. There are 4 content areas. Again, it's reading and writing, math, social studies, and science. The other assessment that we offer is through Educational Testing Service. It's called the HiSET. The GED is only computer-based test, but the HiSET offers a computer-based test as well as a paper-based test. Some students are more comfortable with the paper and pencil, especially when they're doing math. So we have both of these options available for our students. The difference between GED and HiSET is HiSET requires the same modules, reading, language arts, math, science, and social studies, but you have to write an essay. They are very similar. Both tests are aligned to the College and Career Readiness Standards. And it's not that one is better than the other. The delivery methods are different. So, like I said, you could take the paper pencil test of the HiSET. And I think the biggest difference between the two is that the GED test requires the student to have more computer skills than the HiSET does. The computer, and sometimes the computer skills can be a barrier for some students, especially our older population of students who are not familiar with or intimidated by the use of the computer. So we have both of those options for our students. The third option is a competency-based diploma, and this is something we started in 2017. And we started this to support our integrated education and training pathways at our colleges, which we call the MyBest program. So what this allows is the student takes a pathway, a CTE program. Let's just say they want to go into a welding program. So they would take the welding program while they're also enrolled in our adult ed classes, earning the academic side of the reading, writing, math, while they're also working on the career technical competencies for welding. So at the end of that program, they would have their credential for welding as well as their high school diploma credential. This is a great option for students who want to or know what they want to do and are ready to enter into a pathway. So that's more of a competency base. You earn college credit, you earn national career readiness certificates. So you would also earn that same high school equivalency diploma. And I think the one thing that I want to say to parents, to maybe to students or people who don't have that diploma is, there's always been a stigma, or people have felt like there's a stigma if you've dropped out of high school. And I tell people, this, you cannot fit everybody into the same pathway and think that everyone's going to be successful. The traditional pathway is a K through 12 program, where you go to public school and you graduate, like a lot of the people in our country do. But an alternative pathway to a diploma is just as effective and is just as sufficient as for meeting employer expectations. You're reading, you're proficient in reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. And in addition to that, at the board in our programs, we offer the Smart Start credential, and we'll talk about that later, but I just want to make sure people understand that just because you've dropped out of school doesn't mean you can't come back. We have great teachers and programs ready and available for you, and you can't put a stigma on that when everybody wants to do better for themselves, and getting that diploma is just your first step in your career. So
I'm glad you mentioned that and talked about that stigma and stating that education differs because people are different. So every education pathway is not going to be the same for everyone. And it's okay, and especially with counselors in high school. If a counselor is noticing that a student is maybe falling behind or not interested in being in high school, I think that this is a good option, especially that competency-based diploma. If if people are listening and you work with students in high school, this is a great option to offer them, so they know that they still have a career ahead of them, and it doesn't have to be the traditional way. Now, tell us about your involvement with the governor's Reskill Mississippi initiative.
Governor Tate Reeves announced the launch of the Reskill Initiative last month, and this was to help ease the economic burden during this COVID-19 pandemic. This has been a very unusual time for all of us as we've gone through the pandemic, and many Mississippians have lost their jobs or had severe cutbacks because of COVID-19. So the governor and the core partners and the workforce development leaders of the state developed the Reskill Initiative. They took the CARES Act funds, and they have provided those funds to the community colleges for short-term workforce training, so that if you are wanting to change your career, you're looking for new options, our community colleges have programs available for you. Most of these have scholarships available where it wouldn't cost you anything. There's no tuition. We have student vouchers for those things to reskill or upskill in different areas. And these areas are aligned with the jobs that are available in geographic areas across the state. So if you're wanting to reskill or, you want to change your career, there's never been a better time to do that. We have flexible classes, free training, and there's a variety of options for that can, that are covered through a wide variety of interests. It can be from welding, it can be from dental assisting, it can be from phlebotomy, and lots of different options for students right now.
So, Sandy, you talked about Reskill Mississippi, which is the governor's initiative. Talk to us about SkillUp Mississippi, which is MCCB's initiative.
That's actually an initiative through the Office of Adult Education. That is where we have been very intentional this past year to communicate to anyone that will listen that we are so much more than just getting your high school equivalency diploma, that we are actually skilling up our students through the Smart Start Pathway course. They are signing up for Mississippi Works. They are learning what it means to have a professional email, and that really employers possibly toss around 76% of resumes for poor professional emails. And so they're taught about resumes and career exploration, job search strategies, financial literacy, and those essential skills. So they're going through a required 45-hour job readiness class, learning all about Mississippi's workforce, learning what it means to work for an employer, workplace expectations. But they're also put on a pathway in that course, and we're connecting them to CTE and workforce development. We are in adult ed. We are trying to help our students launch their careers while at the same time strengthen our state's workforce and economic development.
Wow. Now, how many counties currently offer the SkillUp Mississippi program?
We have 20 funded programs that cover all 82 counties in the state, actually. So we are statewide. We are in every community college, which, of course, has districts, and they're in all of their counties. We are also in 3 K-12 systems, and we're also in the correctional facilities. And then we have options for our students. We have full-time, part-time classes. We have face-to-face classes, and we also have what's called hybrid, where they are coming. They're allowed to come to class one day and do the rest online. And then we have some students that are completely doing the distance learning option, and that specifically has pushed us into that realm because of COVID-19.
Right. Now, I read also that some community colleges will give college credits for this course as well.
That is true. That was an initiative brought on by Sandy and Dr. Devon before I came onto the board, and we're so proud of it. It is connected to a college credit. I will tell you that we do have a community college that is requiring the Smart Start Pathways course as a requirement for all incoming freshmen, so we're very pleased about that. It's a great initiative. It's a great talking point when you're talking to your students that, that maybe did drop out of high school, that when they enter your door, that they could be working toward a college credit at the same time.
Wow. Are there any grant opportunities available for these programs, or is there a cost for that particular program?
No, we're always looking for opportunities for our students, so we're always applying for grants. But we do have a great relationship with our core partners where we braid funding to provide services through MDES, through the Department of Rehab, and also the local workforce areas in our state. But we also work closely with our colleges in the development of federal grants through the Department of Labor and the Department of Education. So there's always opportunities for our students out there.
Now, I know COVID-19 is still around and we're in the middle of a pandemic, but do you have any events or workshops scheduled in the future, in person or virtually?
Well, right now we're offering everything virtually. But we have not skipped a beat. We just offered a 2-day training on our English as a second language training for the past 2 days. We're constantly training our core partners and whatever they may need for their interviewers or for their case managers or counselors out in the field, just to know what adult ed is doing. So we really have not slowed down with COVID-19. We've actually been a little bit more intentional in providing training. So
a lot of people have said that. One last question. If companies and organizations or individuals are listening right now and something sparked their ear and they would love to be involved and be a part of your programs, what can they do as far as helping, like GED teachers, resume building, grooming, et cetera? What is the need right now that you need from the communities?
Well, I think go ahead, Sandy.
Sorry. I think that, we've developed a SkillUp initiative, and you can find that information on www.skillupmississippi.com. What I would say is that we've worked very closely with our employers and our educators to align the needs of the employers, because that's where the jobs are. So if there's a student out there or a parent out there who thinks, hey, this may be something that is an interest for my child or a future workforce for employers, contact us through our SkillUp Mississippi website. We have programs for everybody, and we offer individualized instruction. We have a great cadre of teachers that this is what they've been doing. They specialize in it, and we can help anybody get to that next step, that next goal that they may have. Because eventually, we want everybody to be in a family-sustaining wage job so that they can support their family and, live that life we all dream of, right? I think Phil Bryant said that we want people to stay in Mississippi and have their dream job, and that's what we want for our students, our employers. We want Mississippi to be the best that it can be.
Well, any last words, Bronwyn? You have something to add to that? That was wonderful, by the way, Sandy.
No, I think that just for, people to visit our website at SkillUpMississippi.com and just to know that we're very intentional in that we are preparing our students for the workforce. And I heard it sometime last year. Someone said that our future workforce for Mississippi is sitting in K-12. And I do believe that person was completely true when he said that, a very accurate statement, because I have a child that's in 9th grade, and I do believe that he's going to be the future of our workforce. However, right now, the current workforce needs of Mississippi, adult ed's playing a role in that. And we want them to know that the current workforce needs can be met by these students that are walking in our doors at adult education.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much, ladies. This was Bronwyn Robertson and Sandy Crist with the Mississippi Community College Board joining us this morning. Thank you for all of your information. And if you need more information, you can go to their website, and we will post that on our podcast as well. We're going to take a very quick break and come back and have Tara Wren sum up everything we talked about today and talk about how important getting Mississippians to work is. Stay tuned. This is Mississippi Education Connection on MPB Think Radio.
Hey, this is Malcolm White. I'm one of the hosts of the Mississippi Arts Hour, the arts interview show on Think Radio. Every week, we talk with visual artists, musicians, as well as people who help bring the arts to their communities. We hear about how each artist learned their craft and get some insight into their creative process. You can hear the Arts Hour every Sunday at 5 p.m. or listen anytime by subscribing to the show through your favorite podcast app.
This is an MPB Think Radio podcast.
Welcome back. This is Mississippi Education Connection on MPB Think Radio. I'm your host, Michelle McAdoo, along with my co-host, Tara Wren, Director of Education here at MPB. Well, today we've had a great conversation discussing education and workforce development in Mississippi. We spoke with Sharon Person about MPB's Workforce Development Initiative, Getting to Work Mississippi, and we spoke with Sandy Crist and Bronwyn Robertson with the Mississippi Community College Board about their adult education and workforce development programs. Now, Tara, you've been listening and you've been asking questions this entire hour. Why is it so important to develop skills and get Mississippians to work?
Well, it's very important that our young people understand what it takes to get them on their to their dreams. These programs are so important because young people, we put them on a path to be successful in school and in life. They benefit our economy once they do that as well. And, I think that in some respect, may help to stop or halt or slow down the brain drain that we see here in Mississippi. Getting to Work MS, which is MPB's program, it's just we house the resources, lots of information that we're continuously updating and pushing out to our readers and to our public across the state of Mississippi. I think Bronwyn, who just said it very, very well a few minutes ago, that we are intentional. Both MCCB, what they're doing over there in the community colleges, here at MPB and the SkillUp Mississippi and Reskill Mississippi by the governor, they're intentional programs. And a lot of it is free. They mentioned that at the Community College Board. A lot of these programs are free for testing and assessment opportunities. And, we're just here to provide this information and the resources so that we can put people on the best path that they can be on to be successful.
And you said getting the information out to the people that need it. A lot of people are sitting at home, and if you're listening, you're like, wow, I didn't know this even existed. How important is getting the information to the people that need it? And you talked about that. We're here at MPB. We have more ability to do that. But like in high schools, counselors and places in the rural areas, they need to know about programs like this.
Well, absolutely. And one of the things that we do here at Mississippi Public Broadcasting, Sharon and her team, we have a relationship with counselors across the state, and we have hosted counselor workshops and We're looking at ways right now to virtually retool those workshops where we push this information out to the students, starting as early as 8th grade, this workforce information out to them through their counselors and teachers, and we're working on something. So everybody's going to have to keep up with us, and of course we'll be reaching out to the schools across the state. And then the community colleges are situated, across the state such that, we can walk in and they're just a call away, or their website that they just mentioned, SkillUpMississippi.com. And, it's very important. And folks that's listening, go onto the website. It's very easy, and the information is laid out there. Links are available. Education.mpbonline.org is a good place to start for Mississippi Public Broadcasting.
I love it. And last words, any events or workshops you guys have coming up in the pipeline?
I'll reiterate what Sharon said about Workforce Wednesday. We have it every third Wednesday, virtually now, of course. And the goal of Workforce Wednesday is to convene our partners, to talk about workforce development, to talk about what's going on in the state, the latest information, the most relevant information. We have visitors and presenters on next September the 16th. Refill Jackson is going to come
All right, Jeff
and talk
Goods.
to us about what they have going on over there. So everybody can tune in, keep up with us on social media and mpbonline.org.
Good deal. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. We've had another great show, and we want to thank our guests, Sharon Person, Director of Community Engagement here at MPB, and from the Mississippi College Community Board, Bronwyn Robertson and Sandy Crist. Now, this program is a production of MPB Think Radio in conjunction with MPB's Education Department and the Mississippi Department of Education. For Tara Wren, I'm Michelle McAdoo. Stay tuned for Southern Remedy for Women and join us next Friday right here at 10 a.m. on MPB Think Radio.